Stories and Documentary Network. Welcome to our exploration of the ancient Australian civilization, a journey into the rich tapestry of human history often obscured by the shadows of more widely studied ancient cultures. As we unravel the mysteries of Australia's past, we embark on a fascinating expedition through time, traversing diverse landscapes and delving into the enduring legacies of one of the world's oldest continuous cultures, the Aboriginal peoples. However, the significance of unraveling the story of Australia's ancient civilizations cannot be overstated. This vast and diverse continent is home to one of the world's oldest continuous cultures, the Aboriginal culture. Human history, like an intricate tapestry, weaves together the stories of countless civilizations, each contributing to the mosaic of our shared heritage. While the narratives of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley have been extensively explored, the ancient history of Australia remains a captivating enigma. Our quest for knowledge takes us beyond conventional boundaries, seeking illumination in the resilience, wisdom, and contributions of the Aboriginal peoples. Australia, often referred to as the island continent, boasts a distinctive set of geographical features that have played a crucial role in shaping its ancient civilizations. Characterized by vast deserts, dense rainforests, arid plains, and unique wildlife, Australia's diverse landscapes have both challenged and inspired its early inhabitants. From the expansive Great Barrier Reef to the rugged outback, understanding the geography is essential to comprehending the adaptive strategies employed by the ancient Australian civilization. Recent archaeological evidence suggests that Aboriginal peoples arrived on this continent over 65,000 years ago, challenging traditional views of early human migration. The journey to Australia involved navigating treacherous seas and demonstrating exceptional maritime skills and resourcefulness. This migration narrative not only speaks to the adventurous spirit of the first inhabitants but also highlights their profound connection with the land and their ability to adapt to diverse environments. Excavations across the continent have unearthed artifacts, tools, and remnants of ancient structures that provide invaluable insights into the lives of the first Australians. Among the key discoveries are the rock shelters of Kakadu National Park, where ancient paintings and artifacts offer a glimpse into the artistic and technological achievements of Aboriginal cultures. Additionally, the discovery of the Mungo Man and Mungo Lady at Lake Mungo has provided crucial information about burial practices and the deep spiritual connection between the people and their landscape. Australia is home to an astonishing array of Aboriginal cultures, each with its own distinct traditions, languages, and practices. The diversity among these cultures is a testament to the adaptability and creativity of the first Australians. From the Yolngu people of Arnhem Land to the Pitjantjatjara in the central deserts, the cultural richness of Aboriginal societies is expressed through art, storytelling, song, and dance. The linguistic diversity further underscores the complexity of these ancient cultures, as over 250 distinct languages were spoken, fostering a deep sense of identity and connection to place. Central to the cosmology of Aboriginal cultures is the Dreamtime, a spiritual realm where ancestral beings created the world and its features. This sacred dimension interweaves the past, present, and future, shaping the cultural landscape of the first Australians. The Dreamtime is not merely a mythical construct. It is a living, breathing force that guides daily life, rituals, and the connection between individuals and their ancestral homelands. The spiritual significance of the land is palpable, with every rock, waterhole, and mountain carrying the imprint of the dreaming stories that define Aboriginal identity. The social fabric of the ancient civilization is intricately woven through kinship structures that transcend biological relationships. Aboriginal societies exhibit complex kinship systems, which govern social interactions, marriage arrangements, and responsibilities within the community. Elders, as the custodians of cultural knowledge, play a pivotal role in passing down traditions and maintaining social cohesion. These kinship structures not only fostered a sense of belonging but also ensured the sustainability of communities through shared responsibilities and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all living things. The technological prowess of the ancient civilization is exemplified by the ingenuity with which the first Australians crafted tools and weapons from the natural resources of their environment. Stone tools, such as the finely honed edges of flaked stone knives and spearheads, were essential for hunting, gathering, and crafting. The skillful use of materials like wood, bone, and kangaroo sinew showcased a deep understanding of the available resources and a capacity for innovation in adapting these materials to their needs. This resourcefulness not only facilitated survival but also reflected a harmonious relationship with the land. The controlled use of fire was a technological innovation that set this ancient civilization apart. Aboriginal peoples engaged in systematic fire management practices, shaping the landscape to promote biodiversity and enhance hunting and gathering opportunities. By strategically using fire, they cleared undergrowth, encouraged the growth of specific plant species, and attracted game animals. This sophisticated understanding of fire as a tool for environmental stewardship and resource management reveals a level of ecological insight that significantly influenced the sustainability of their communities. Rock art and cave paintings, scattered across the continent, provide a visual chronicle of the ancient Australian civilization. These artworks, often depicting Dreamtime stories, hunting scenes, and intricate patterns, serve as a means of communication, storytelling, and cultural preservation. The meticulous use of natural pigments and the integration of symbolic elements in the art reveal a sophisticated understanding of aesthetics and intricate symbolic language. In addition to visual arts, storytelling played a pivotal role in passing down cultural knowledge and traditions. Through oral narratives, Aboriginal peoples conveyed the dreaming stories, historical events, and moral lessons, ensuring the continuity of their cultural identity. The fusion of artistic expressions and storytelling not only served as a form of entertainment but also as a vital mechanism for education and the transmission of cultural values across generations. Contrary to conventional notions of agriculture, the ancient Australian civilization developed unique and sustainable methods of food production. While traditional agriculture involves the cultivation of crops, Aboriginal peoples engage in practices such as yam cultivation, fish trapping, and the management of edible plants. The cultivation of yams, for example, was a sophisticated practice involving the careful selection of sites, nurturing specific varieties, and employing environmental cues for planting. These practices demonstrated a profound understanding of the ecosystems and the ability to work with nature to sustain their communities. Aboriginal peoples viewed themselves as custodians of the land, understanding that the health of the land directly influenced their well-being. Resource management involved a holistic approach, where sustainable harvesting, controlled burning, and conservation practices were implemented. By carefully managing resources, such as water, plants, and animals, Aboriginal communities ensured the longevity of their societies while maintaining a harmonious balance with the natural world. Rather than exploiting a single location, Aboriginal peoples moved in accordance with seasonal changes, resource availability, and environmental conditions. This nomadic lifestyle not only reduced pressure on local ecosystems but also allowed for sustainable resource use, preventing overexploitation and ensuring the resilience of both the environment and the communities that depended on it. Aboriginal societies, characterized by a lack of centralized institutions, showcased a nuanced blend of hierarchical and egalitarian tendencies. While classless, evidence from regions like Northeast Arnhem Land, Bathurst and Melville Islands, Western Cape York Peninsula, and the Aranda of Central Australia indicates the existence of influential leaders akin to Melanesian big men, whose prominence in rituals extended to secular domains. Status differentiation primarily revolved around age and gender, with the religious realm witnessing the most pronounced disparities. Despite an egalitarian ethos, women were excluded from core men's secret sacred rituals, and privilege zones were delineated through graded acceptance based on age and experience. Notably, Aboriginal societies were open, lacking social barriers preventing individuals from ascending to leadership roles through personal efforts in religious matters. In the Great Sandy Desert, leadership roles were situationally determined during rituals, with senior men assuming varying roles at different stages. Although desert women exhibited less differentiation, they did possess a ritual status hierarchy, with women taking orders from initiated men in religious affairs. Dissension traditionally arose over matters related to women, religious practices, and death. Disputes over extramarital relationships or accusations of sorcery could lead to serious conflicts involving the relatives of those involved. Infringements of sacred law, often linked to ordinary deaths, carried significant social repercussions, triggering inquests and divination to identify supposed murderers. Aboriginal societies heavily relied on effective socialization and the cultivation of self-regulation, reinforced by emotions of shame and embarrassment. Conformity to societal rules was ensured through unwritten yet widely known regulations, with a range of positive and negative sanctions in place. In dealing with transgressors, role allocation hinged on kinship relationships, exemplified by elder brothers often serving as both nurturers and punishers for errant younger siblings. The maintenance of law and order in Aboriginal societies was tightly localized and intricately linked to kinship claims, with authority delimited and qualified by familial ties. In the event of a breach, precedents were sought to guide or influence actions, and approved procedures were universally followed to uphold peace. Judicial bodies, in the conventional sense, were absent, but on the lower Murray River, a formal council, known as Tendi, comprised of clan headmen and elders, arbitrated disputes between neighboring groups. Generally, informal meetings involving elders and esteemed individuals were convened to address grievances and other communal concerns. Settlement by ordeal was not uncommon, with the Makarrata, Magarrata, or Manayag of Arnhem Land standing out as a notable example. During this ritualized meeting, the accused would run a gauntlet of accusers who threw spears at him, and a wounded thigh was construed as proof of guilt. While the term gerontocracy may be imprecise in describing Aboriginal Australia, men of importance were readily discernible within these societies. Typically, these were elders who attained their status not solely due to age or gray hair but by virtue of their religious positions and personal vigor. The social fabric was intricately woven with the contributions of these distinguished individuals who played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and spiritual dimensions of their communities. Contrary to the notion that ancient Aboriginal societies were isolated, archaeological evidence suggests the existence of extensive trade networks that crisscrossed the Australian continent. These trade networks facilitated the exchange of goods, technologies, and cultural practices among diverse Aboriginal communities. Trade routes, often following traditional songlines, connecting different regions, allowing for the movement of resources such as stone, shells, ochre, and ceremonial items. The existence of these trade networks not only highlights the interconnectedness of Aboriginal societies but also challenges earlier assumptions about their isolation. Contact with neighboring civilizations, including those in Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, and the Torres Strait Islands, facilitated cultural exchange. The movement of people, ideas, and technologies across these regions contributed to the enrichment of Aboriginal cultures. Elements such as pottery-making techniques, linguistic influences, and trade items reflect the dynamic nature of cultural interactions that occurred over millennia. Trade played a pivotal role in shaping the social and economic structures. The exchange of goods not only met practical needs but also fostered social bonds and alliances among different groups. Trade relationships contributed to the development of social hierarchies, with certain individuals or groups emerging as key intermediaries in the trade networks. This economic interdependence encouraged cooperation, reciprocity, and the establishment of cultural ties, reinforcing the interconnectedness of Aboriginal societies. The ancient Australian civilization exhibited intricate kinship systems that were foundational to the social fabric of Aboriginal communities. Kinship, extending beyond biological relationships, played a pivotal role in organizing social structures. The complexity of these systems varied across different regions, with some societies emphasizing matrilineal descent and others patrilineal. Kinship determined social roles, responsibilities, and relationships, fostering a sense of interconnectedness and shared identity within the community. These kinship structures not only shaped individual identities but also formed the basis for social cohesion and cooperation. Leadership within Aboriginal societies was often decentralized, with individuals assuming leadership roles based on their knowledge, skills, and spiritual connections. Elders, distinguished by their wisdom and experience, held significant influence, serving as custodians of cultural knowledge and arbitrators in community matters. Decision-making processes were collaborative, involving consensus building and open dialogue within the community. This participatory approach ensured that decisions reflected the collective interests and values of the group, reinforcing a sense of unity and shared responsibility. These events served multiple purposes, including the transmission of cultural knowledge, the celebration of significant milestones, and the reinforcement of community bonds. Ceremonial practices were often tied to the Dreamtime narratives, emphasizing the spiritual connection between individuals, the land, and ancestral beings. Communal activities, such as corroborees and dance ceremonies, provided opportunities for social interaction, artistic expression, and the reaffirmation of cultural identity. Aboriginal people perceived their way of life as ordained by the creative acts of the dreaming beings, and their mission was to live in harmony with the legacy outlined in the dreaming blueprint. In this worldview, there was no concept of progress, no room for competing dogmas, or rebellion against the established order. The mythic past, where everything existed, was seen as fixed for all time, and the living were tasked with obeying the law of the dreaming and correctly performing rituals essential for physical and social reproduction. Although human creativity was acknowledged, the dreaming legacy, rather than a static tradition, was continually enriched, challenging the ideology that proclaimed non-change and the reproduction of existing forms. This worldview prioritized spiritual powers and explanations over mundane knowledge or human intellect, placing individuals under the authority of the law rather than that of other people. The landscape itself was a vivid representation of the dreaming's reality, and daily activities were a reenactment of the creative being's actions, making religion inseparable from the concerns of everyday life. Despite the inherent hierarchy in gender and age, personal autonomy was highly valued, leading to strong reactions, including anger and violence, against any attempts to deny or diminish it. Totemic belief systems played a crucial role, intricately linking individuals and groups to nature and powerful spiritual beings. Totemism represented the universe as a moral and social order, forming a worldview where humanity and nature were a unified whole. Mythic beings often exemplified the life force in specific species, and totemism provided direct links to the dreaming's beginnings and the immense powers of the spiritual realm. Conception totemism connected individuals to specific places and events, forming the basis for individual identity while linking people who shared similar associations. Totems, whether plants, animals, or minerals, symbolized connections between individuals, the physical world, and the omnipotent spiritual powers crucial for worldly life. Religious activity occurred throughout the year, with initiated men often taking central roles in major rituals. Large gatherings, facilitated by local superabundance of food resources, marked high points in religious sequences. While initiated men dominated many secret sacred activities, women and children also played significant roles in various religious rites. Some regions, like the Great Sandy Desert, saw women engaging in their secret sacred rites. The ongoing composition and exchange of new rituals with other groups added a dynamic element to the ever-evolving religious life of Aboriginal people. This civilization faced formidable challenges, including the impacts of climate change and other environmental stressors. The continent's variable climate, marked by periods of drought, changing sea levels, and environmental shifts, posed significant challenges to survival. Aboriginal communities demonstrated resilience by adapting their practices to cope with these changes. Their deep understanding of the land allowed them to implement sustainable resource management strategies, such as controlled burning and selective harvesting, to mitigate the effects of environmental fluctuations. Nomadic lifestyles, adaptive resource management, and the transmission of cultural knowledge through oral traditions were integral to their survival. Cultural continuity was sustained through the intergenerational transfer of skills, stories, and rituals, ensuring that the wisdom of the past persisted in the face of external pressures. The ability to adapt, innovate, and maintain cultural cohesion allowed Aboriginal communities to navigate challenges and preserve the essence of their identity over thousands of years. The decline of certain ancient Aboriginal civilizations can be attributed to a combination of external factors that exerted pressure on their sustainable practices. Changes in climate introduced diseases from external contacts, and disruptions to traditional trade routes are among the external factors that impacted the equilibrium of some Aboriginal societies. These challenges tested the adaptive capacity of communities, leading to population decline and, in some instances, the abandonment of settled areas. Indigenous perspectives on the transformation of their societies offer a nuanced understanding of the complexities involved. From an Aboriginal viewpoint, the the transformation is often seen not merely as a decline but as a dynamic process of adaptation and continuity. Elders and custodians of cultural knowledge play a crucial role in conveying the narratives of change, emphasizing the resilience and adaptability that allowed their communities to navigate through challenging periods. These perspectives challenge external narratives that might portray decline without recognizing the agency and strength of Indigenous communities in shaping their destinies. The legacy of the ancient Australian civilization endures in contemporary Aboriginal cultures, reflecting the resilience of traditions and the ongoing significance of cultural practices. Despite the transformations and external pressures, many aspects of ancient traditions persist in ceremonies, art, language, and spiritual beliefs. The interconnectedness with the land, kinship structures, and the importance of storytelling continue to be vital components of contemporary Aboriginal cultures. The ability to adapt while maintaining a strong connection to ancestral heritage speaks to the enduring strength and cultural richness of Indigenous communities. In our exploration of the ancient Australian civilization, we've delved into a rich tapestry of history, unveiling the complexities and contributions of the first Australians. From the unique geological features of the continent to the diverse cultures, sustainable living practices, and intricate societal structures, our journey has uncovered a civilization that thrived in harmony with its environment. Technological innovations, trade networks, and the resilience demonstrated in the face of challenges have painted a vivid picture of a civilization deeply connected to the land and rooted in enduring cultural traditions. Our journey into the ancient Australian civilization is but a glimpse into a vast and profound history that continues to unfold. To truly appreciate and honor this heritage, there is a pressing need for continued research, collaboration, and a commitment to amplifying Indigenous voices in the telling of their own stories. As we navigate the complexities of the present and future, understanding Australia's rich history provides a foundation for building respectful relationships with Indigenous communities. Let this be a call to action for scholars, policymakers, and individuals alike to engage in ongoing research, education, and appreciation of the depth and diversity embedded in Australia's ancient past. In concluding our exploration of the ancient Australian civilization, we extend an invitation to all to join in the collective effort to celebrate, preserve, and learn from the cultural legacy of the first Australians. Through this commitment, we contribute to a more comprehensive and inclusive understanding of human history, embracing the lessons embedded in the ancient wisdom of the Aboriginal peoples.